I know the first thing we were going to talk about here. It's out now, Ahsoka, the thing that's going to save Star Wars. Apparently, the first two episodes have dropped. And we've all had a chance to watch it. I guess. How did we find it? I don't know if you want to do like a little, first impressions from each of us. Just a few initial thoughts. I know, Mauler, that goes against your nature, but you can try.
I pulled it off before, I think.
I think you've done it remarkably well. Yeah, I've put you to a 30-second time limit. You've done pretty good. So, I don't know. Let's just try that, I suppose. What did you think?
Dribbly piss. How's that?
It's fair enough, yeah. Short and to the point, I guess.
You know what? I'll concede the rest of my time because I'm interested in doing the deep dive. I'll wait for everyone else. Let's go.
Okay. Az, how did you find it?
Incredibly boring. Incredibly uncompelling. Waste of time. I just thought they were wasting people's time on purpose. There was just lots of nothing and walking and nothing filling in the void. The characters are bland. They're so one note. I think the one with the most personalities, the robot, which again is a damning indictment of your characters. It's like Rogue One all over again. And Ray Stevenson, my God, missed that guy already. He's the only person I pay attention to. But he's got so little to work with. It's exceedingly frustrating.
Fair dues, man. What about you, Gary?
Oh, passionless, soulless, bland women searching for balls in space. You can count to 3 every time after somebody finishes a line before the next person finishes their next line. Everybody's talking like they're inside a church.
Yeah.
Even David Tennant, I thought, was just flat as hell. Like he just played a boring robot. Ray Stevenson, great guy. Underused, could have been a formidable villain if he was just taking on Ahsoka. Instead, he's being ordered around by a girl boss. So the Force isn't female. This is Kathleen. The Force is female. Kathleen Kennedy has kept her promise.
Fair dues. What about you, Despot?
Apart from what's been mentioned, what really struck me about how bad it was that at one point I was looking at this thinking, this is 3 male roles being played by women. Basically, I felt that the 3 of them were behaving like men. They were, for example, being very stoic, aggressive, overly masculine. General Greenis was trying to be very imposing, and it was just embarrassing to watch. So there was that. It struck me, I know that we're not going to get to this till later in the season, but I thought that they've and it's so typical of Lucasfilm because they love wasted potential. They've wasted Thrawn. Thrawn is probably the most popular, if not the best, extended universe character. And what did they do? Did they give him his own show? No, they didn't. They made him a peripheral character in some girl boss show. It's just awful. And apart from that, everything is wrong with it, basically. Maybe some of the visuals look okay. And like I said, Ray Stevenson was good. But apart from that, almost everything else, the acting, the dialogue is wretched. Jesus Christ, some of the dialogue is just so
appalling.
It was like Rings of Power level bad. Some of the dialogue.
Yeah,
I could go on, but I think that's enough for first impressions.
All right, cool. Yeah, we can get into more detail shortly. And what about you, Matt Cat?
I mean, I'll piggyback a little bit on what some of you have already said, but the first thing I wanted to say is, like, I love how everybody keeps saying that Dave Filoni is the savior of Star Wars. I honestly, while watching this, I was like, I don't think Dave Filoni likes Star Wars fans because this show, I was just all like, what is going on here? And then it was very mediocre. I know a lot of people want to say that, but it was very mediocre. Like, I was just like, and then it was very estrogen filled. I was just like, what's going on here? And then, the last thing was, I was like, Gary said, there was a lot of staring after somebody said something. It was like a line, and then there was just like 3 minutes of staring. And I was like, is somebody going to say or do anything? Because I've had enough of this nonsense. So those are my first impressions of this show.
Can we call it testrogen? women trying to pretend they got testosterone. Testrogen.
That's very good. I like that.
Yeah,
that's good.
I think in terms of characterization, yeah, if you asked me to describe Ahsoka's personality, I would say I would struggle, actually. I would say she was stoic. If you asked me to describe Sabine Wren's personality, I would say she was stoic. If you ask me to describe the
green lady,
the green general
Hera.
lady,
Error.
I can't remember her name.
Hera.
Don't care. I would say she was stoic with a hint of condescension, and that's actually all I could give you with those three.
It's
I don't know.
It's
I
an
don't know what they-
impersonation of male stoicism.
I think
It's a
that's
bad
it.
one.
I don't know if they, when they were sitting down to write this, they were thinking to themselves, we don't want to have, like, if we've got three female leads, we don't want to have them be like super emotional and like, you know, shouting and screaming at each other and stuff. We're going to go the opposite direction because we want people to take them seriously. Damn it, they're serious people doing serious things. So I think they went too far the opposite direction, and they just erased all of their personalities. And so you've just got these absolute robots talking to each other with extreme deliberation.
yeah.
Like there's just like every scene goes on about 3 times longer than it needs to, because one, like there's a lot of people just walking around rooms looking at stuff without saying anything, which you know, to some extent it's like fine, okay, if it's a really significant location. But if it's just like looking at a location that you've already been to, like investigating Sabine's home again, yeah, we don't need that.
Yeah.
We've already seen it.
Well, to give a really what I think is a solid example anyway would be that planet where they put the sphere into the Stonehenge to get the map going, right?
Yeah.
We first see the ship approaching, then landing, then they get out, and he has the sphere, and he puts it down, and he says, okay, lady is going to need to see this, Elspeth or whatever, so make sure you contact her and get her here. And then the scene ends, and you'll see this if anyone wants to watch the EFAB coverage of it, but I said, like, if they have a scene soon now that begins with her seeing the orb on the ruins, then that's going to make this whole scene fucking redundant. And then they do.
Yeah,
It was
just
good.
show her going there and meeting with them, and it's like, right, now let's use this thing. That's all we need. And it's like, these episodes are long. The first episode is like 55, 56 minutes.
Well,
it doesn't
30
need to
minutes
be
of
that
script
long.
stretched out over hour, half hour, 45 minutes, and it's padding minutes. That's all they're doing. So they're just padding minutes. They've done this in every single D plus Star Wars show is show somebody walking down a hallway, walking up to a spaceship, walking out of a spaceship, walking into a room. You don't need to do any of this. Well, maybe once in a while.
the series, like
Mandalorian season 3 was fucking abusive when it came to stuff like this.
Yeah.
Like, remember the first time they go to Mandalore, and it's like, okay, really long tracking shot of the ship landing, then the droid goes out, then they lose contact with it, then Mando gets out and walks very slowly towards the cave and finds the droid, and it's like, this none of that was needed.
Same
God,
thing when
yeah,
he
that
went to
extends so hard.
Bo-Katan. When he goes to Bo-Katan the first time, you get the tracking shot. It follows the ship in, and he lands slowly, and then he gets out and he walks up, and then he walks up the long corridor. Lots of that stuff. Yeah.
why isn't it atmosphere building, guys? Why can't it be counted as atmosphere building?
Because there's no atmosphere.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Completely lacks substance.
Because it was all
atmosphere
filmed
building,
against the
world
fucking
building,
volume screen.
There needs
requires
to be
substance.
tension to build atmosphere, and there's no tension in these shows because we don't care about the characters, we don't care about anything that's going on.
Right.
And they seem to think that it's very necessary for there to be an aspect of mystery. And so, for example, in the scene where Ahsoka walks into the kind of Indiana Jones room and tries to figure out the MacGuffin or find the MacGuffin.
Oh, you mean
They
you mean
God,
twist
that
the top
took
of the
ages.
thing
Right,
very
yeah,
slightly?
exactly.
Yeah.
So fucking long, dude.
I love the smirk she gave when she figured out the first one. Like, bitch, I could have figured that out too. It's not in a Rubik's cube. You just twisted it. Like,
No. There's
Dude, a
three-
child could have solved the sphere map thing.
and
It was
wild.
easier than a 4-digit puzzle in a fucking Silent Hill game, man.
Right.
It's like it's like Sabine when she gets given the orb, and it's like, we just can't figure out the key
We
to
can't figure
unlock
out. We need
this
the
thing.
artist's eye.
It's literally just the map is there on the floor. You just have to hold the thing up and like make it line up. This
don't
is like
even
a
need-
Resident Evil puzzle.
Yeah,
you do in
you
like
just
2
look on the
minutes.
sphere and the lines match up when you get it right. That's all they had to do. It's
They
fucking
got the
sad.
lion's head and the griffin's tail, and they thanks, Leon.
All they needed to do was get Banksy to, decode the Mayan Codex. That's all they needed.
Yeah.
When Ahsoka gets that, the first thing she says is something like, there's only one person I know who can fix this. And I was thinking, you're on a Starfleet. Do you not have a cartographer?
Right.
Yeah.
You can maybe take a look at it.
Excuse me, Sabine Wren is more intelligent, creative, capable than anyone in the Republic.
Anyone.
Well, it's like, yeah, with all the supercomputer processing power that you've got with all these droids and like, ships and all this stuff that you have at your disposal, surely that could number crunch and figure out the solution for you.
You know, they have that hologram of the two Sith, not Sith, Inquisitor, whatever people doing their thing. It's only once they show them that the droid guy is like, oh, I'll run a scan on their lightsabers. I was like, has no one in the Republic done that yet? Hello? What?
Right.
Like, is he the only one that can do that? Hello?
There is no Republic. There's no Republic to call. We can get into it later. But I got a question for all you guys. If you came into this like without watching Rebels or anything, who would you think this show was about? Ahsoka or Sabine?
Sabine.
Oh yeah,
Sabine.
Sabine. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, I don't even know who Ahsoka is.
This is something I was going to touch upon. Actually, it's like you really need to have watched Rebels to understand most of the references in this, and I haven't watched beyond season 1 of Rebels. Like I
To understand
know who these characters are. I don't really care though, and so I was watching this like, oh, okay, like Ezra had to sacrifice himself to defeat Grand Admiral Thrawn, and I thought he's dead, but apparently he's out there in a different galaxy or something. Whatever.
But
Like,
imagine watching Rebels, seeing the characters, and then watching a live action where the characters act nothing like the characters from Rebels. Then you've got Ahsoka.
And I remember Sabine as being like this crazy loose cannon maverick who's like feisty and she doesn't take shit from people, and she's really like she's got quite a sparky personality. And in this, I was presented with a plank of wood, sir, that hadn't even been varnished. She was just, I don't know if it's the actress that's at fault or the writing, but fuck me, like she gives us nothing.
She gave us one thing. She gave us one thing.
That's
when
smart.
she's watching the hologram of Ezra talking to her, Ezra really made sure to know there will be no romance in this because I love you like a sister, and I'm just like,
boom.
Which also makes me go,
Great exposition too.
Yeah, if Filoni had watched his own work, sorry, the whole time during Rebels, I thought those two characters were trying to go to Pound Town, and they didn't. Then now it's like, you were like a sister. I'm all like, what?
Yeah.
This is so weird. It's so weird.
We can't have any sexuality in modern day Star Wars. It's not allowed. It's like men and women are just friends, and like women can be lovers, or men can be lovers with each other, but not men and women. That's just crazy.
They can't be lovers with a gender they're trying to wipe out of the universe. I mean, eventually this is just about men versus women. So when the force's female rises, the evil empire is just, it's basically white men. You can tell who the Imperials are by picking out the white dudes.
when they were at the shipyard. And you could see the white guys who were like giving the eyes, and I'm just like, oh no! And then
I wonder if they're
for the Empire, you could have killed her if you didn't say that. You stupid.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
that is so typical Lucasfilm, because this is a Lucasfilm product, right? Let's just look at their last thing they did, which was Indy 5. So in Indy 5, they have this black woman, and she's hanging around with the villains, and the villains are like shooting civilians. She's saying, "No, stop! Don't shoot the old lady in the head." And she's supposed to be working for the CIA, but you know that she's eventually going to turn around and try to stop the bad guy, and it's going to turn out that she's one of the good guys because she's a black woman. And then in Obi-Wan, Reva was evil, but everyone knew she wasn't evil because, again, she's a black woman, so of course she's not. This is Lucasfilm. When the opening scene, when it started up and I saw old white guy on the screen, I immediately knew, okay, he's either going to be dead in 5 minutes or he's a bad guy.
Yes.
Right. And that's just the Lucasfilm pattern. And you can actually kind of tell what's going to happen. It's predictable just by looking at the immutable characteristics of the characters.
But that scene is insanely bad. Insanely bad, because he identifies the ship as a Jedi code. So this guy thinks, after they know what the Jedi can do, these people have been brought up seeing how powerful the Jedi are, thinks that he's going to bring this Jedi on and tell him to his face, no, you're actually an Imperial. And the Jedi's just going to go, oh, you got me. You're all dead as soon as you invited him on the ship.
More said to me earlier, it's like, yeah, haha, I'm going to call their bluff by bringing them on board and giving them exactly what they want.
What the fuck?
That'll show them.
Yeah, it's
I gotta admit, like having that opening crawl, so to speak, and then having a big shot of space and a big ship coming into it. I was like, yeah, I've seen that before. And then doing that as your opening scene, and then having a spooky big evil man in a dark outfit going through corridors killing people. I was just like, Star Wars can't grow up. It just never will.
I'm really sick as well of like the entire plot hinges on like we've got to get to a place that's hidden and we need a secret map that's going to get us there, and like we have to like locate the map.
Because it worked so well with Force Awakens. Yeah,
this is the
and then again
Rise of Skywalker
Rise of
again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that's the only like story arc that they can think of for stuff like this. And
Dave Filoni, he's an absolute savior. This company who's directed cartoons. Can't get live action actors to emote better than the cartoon characters. The cartoon characters had more emotion than the real people.